Okay, so this is part two. Part one was our adding images via CSS as background images. So now we're going to take that same file that we were working on before. As you can see, we have several things we need to adjust on that. So we've added all the images that we need, but we're going to remove the footer, and we're going to change that background color to white. That's the background color that's going to blend in with the gradient that's currently there assigned to the body tag. So let's do those things, and then for the text in the middle, we're going to create a compound class that puts left and right padding on the paragraphs inside the class content, and we'll bring that text inside that imagery right there. And then we'll create a little navigation system, a little navigation bar that'll be right underneath or inside the content class. Alright, so let's go over to Dreamweaver and start by going to the body tag. Alright, and inside the body tag under background, you can see where I have the background gradient, but I have this CCC listed here. Well, I know the bottom of my image is white. Alright, I brought that out in Photoshop earlier and determined that this was the gradient image that I had used. And I went in here and took an eyedropper tool and clicked on the very bottom there and looked at what it populated, and it populated white. So I know that that's what I want to use for my background color. So when I hit apply there, that will show me, preview this in Firefox, save it. Now I have the white. Now you can see it blends in nicely, right? So let's delete the footer. So deleting the footer is as simple as knowing where the footer code is. And I can see this as div class equals footer, and then the little comment that's telling me to end the footer tag. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that altogether, right? And if I preview that in Firefox, save my changes, okay, so that's been deleted. Now the one thing I see getting repeated down here is part of that Millennium image right here, and I think it's because I need to put a no repeat on that. So I'll worry about that one later, but let's work on the text right now. Alright, so let's go down to we can use split view or design view, it doesn't matter, whatever one. Let me drop this down in size a little bit. You can kind of see the whole view here. Let's go up to about 80 maybe. Oops. Oh, I can't shoot out that. I can't bump down. Never mind. All right. So let's take the one of the text pieces, and the way to do this is if it's a text element that you're going to style, you can click inside that text element, or you can highlight some of that text element. I'm just going to click inside some of this text I know is just standard text because I know it's in a paragraph style. And I'm going to go over to my styles panel and choose new CSS rule over here. So right here I'm going to click new CSS rule, and what it does is going to offer me up the rule that can be applied to the most detailed level for that selected image, or for that selected piece. So when that piece of text in there is actually paragraph inside the class content, inside class container, inside wrapper. And I can identify that also in the tag selector down at the bottom. There's my paragraph, div.content, div.container, div.wrapper body. So it's telling me the exact location of where I just clicked. I don't need to be that specific, so I'm going to click my less specific button. And I'm going to click this. Each time I click it, it'll take away the outer class. So I click less specific once, it takes away class wrapper. I click it again, it takes away .container. So now it's telling me I'm going to be creating a style that is for all the paragraph elements inside the class content, right? Inside the div box, which is class content, right? And up top, it's telling me this is a compound. So as you remember, there's 4 types of CSS rules that you can apply: class, ID, tag, and compound. And normally it will default to compound when you've clicked inside an element and chose new rule, because there'll be more than one element or more than one class or tag that's representing that element. And of course we're writing that to the styles-demo CSS. So I'm going to click OK on this, right? And I'm going to go to the box category, and I'm going to uncheck same for all on padding, and I'm going to start to adjust the left and right padding. I don't know what that number is. Let me choose left and start with like 75 and just hit apply. Now I just saw that text move inward, so I'm going to try 225. Ah, there we go. See how the text started to move in? Alright, so I can say, well, maybe 205. That looks pretty good. Alright, and I can move this out of the way, and I can realize, you know, I need to be pushed away from the top as well. But I'm not going to put that in there on the paragraph. I'm not going to create a padding on the paragraph. I'm going to create a padding on the actual class content box. And now, thinking about this, I probably could do that on the entire class box so that all the elements inside this would have padding. That actually makes more sense than having a compound. But if the case was that I wanted to have just a specific paragraph moved into a specific location, or with padding on it, I could do that with a compound class. So actually, I'm going to cancel this, all right, and I'm going to do this for the class content. So let's delete that content that we just created, class content P. I'm going to hit delete there. I can delete it right out of my CSS styles panel. Now, if you delete a rule out of your CSS styles panel, it's gone. There's no Control Z. If you do Control Z, it doesn't come back. Okay, so be careful with that one. All right. So I'm going to go to the content, because you know why I want to do this? Because I have heading tags as well. So I have more than just paragraphs inside my content box. So I'm going to go to the box, and I have some padding that's already in there, but I'm going to choose more than 10 pixels of top padding. Let's try 50. You see what's happening over here is the instructions heading is coming down. So let's see, let's try 75. That looks about right. Alright, and then let's go to the left padding area, and I think, what did we have, 205? Hit 205 for padding. Whoops. Oh, sorry, didn't see that. It didn't have anything there chosen as pixels. It's got to be 205 pixels. And so if I had a 0 in there, it's not going to have anything right here. Okay. So on the right side, kind of threw me for a loop there. Let's try 75. Make sure that's set to pixels. Hit apply. That needs a lot more. This probably needs the similar amount. Apply even more than that. 250. Apply. You can see I'm looking at this text right here. It looks like it might even need close to 300. Apply. There. So that looks good. Looks like I need a little more space on the top. So I'm going to change that to 100. Apply. Okay. So now I can see that I'm applying padding to this dot content div box, this class that I've created. And let's see, that looks good. Maybe a little bit less on the left. Go to 200. Okay. Alright, click OK. So now if we preview this in Firefox, save, there we go. Of course I have to get rid of this repeated image up here, which is the background image of the content. So I'm going to go back into the class content, go to background, and choose no repeat on that. And that should get rid of the repeat in there. Preview in Firefox, save it. There you go. Okay, so now it's looking the way I want. So now what I want to do to end this lesson is to create a little navigation system. And I'm going to add that right above the word instructions. So it's going to be inside the content box, which is fine. So let's go navigate there and show you how to best do this. So inside Dreamweaver, right, if you click inside the word instructions, what you want to utilize is your tag selector. So your tag selector, if you go down here, remember tag selectors along the bottom here, and you see that the H1 tag. So if I click that, and let me go into split view because this will demonstrate it more specifically. If I click split view, and let's go to where that tag. So if I was right here and I said, well, you know, I want to add my menu system right before the word instructions. When I click right before the word instructions, look in code view at where the insert point is, right? It's not before the H1 tag. So if I add my menu system right now, even though I think, because I'm in design view, that I'm right before the word instructions, it's going to add it inside my heading tags, which is going to apply an H1 style, which is a default HTML style, to my menu system. And I don't want that. I want to add my menu system right before the word instructions. Okay? So in order to do that, we have to utilize the tag selector. So down in the tag selector, if I click H1 right here, it highlights the entire H1 tag set with the word instructions in it, correct? And now if I arrow to the left, now my cursor is directly before the beginning H1 tag, and that's where I want it to be. Alright, so let's go ahead and I can go ahead and insert my menu system right now, right here. Okay, so I'm going to start typing in home. Let's make it all capitals. And you'll see right when I started typing, don't hit enter. It's a bad idea to hit enter in Dreamweaver when you're in design view because you're creating paragraph tags. You'd never create spacing by hitting, oh, hit enter, 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 enter. Oh, that created enough space. Because all you're doing is creating a bunch of empty paragraph tags that have a little symbol in there called ampersand NBSP semicolon, which is a non-breaking space. All right, so I'm going to do home. I'm going to just do the word home, and then I'm going to hit space, and then I'm going to use the pipe symbol. The pipe symbol is hold down the shift key and it's your backslash, and it just creates this little pipe space. And then I'm going to say I don't know, create any type of menu system. I'm going to call it gaming, another pipe symbol, okay, and contact. Home, gaming, contact. Oh, how about about? Alright, home, about, gaming, and contact. Alright, so now I have just pure text. It's just floating in the middle of the content box. There's no styling on it anywhere. Nothing's really taking any effect on this, and there's no styling done on this. So, you know, if I have specific styling that's coming from my paragraph tags or something like that, maybe I can wrap this in a paragraph tag. Maybe I can even wrap this in some type of div tag for my navigation, right? That might be a good idea. So let's take and highlight the text. And you can highlight in design view, code view, either one. And let's do that, insert a div object, okay, that's going to wrap the div tags around this text. Same way we did in part 1. Okay? So let's go insert, layout objects, div tag. And right now it's going to wrap it around the selection. That's what we want. And we're going to create a class name for it that we can use to apply styles to change the styling of our menu system. So I'm going to create a class called top nav. Right? Don't use the word nav because that's a new HTML5 tag that you don't ever want to use tag names for your class names. You'll never have a class name called H1 or just P, or and you even got to be careful of the header as a class name too, because that's also an HTML5 tag. All right. So I'm going to click New CSS Rule and go ahead and apply some styling to this now. Let's see. That's what I want. A class called Top Nav. Click OK. I'm going to adjust the text color a little bit. So instead of a lighter color, maybe I'll go with 333. Not necessarily black. I don't really like to go with black. I like to go with a shade down from black a lot of times. And that'll be it for now. I'm going to click OK. And click OK. And now you can see in Dreamweaver you have the design view that has the little div box wrapped around that menu system that I just created. And you also notice that the padding is still being applied to the content box, right? So that div box that I just named Top Nav is being affected the same way that the text and the heading tags are below, because of the left and right padding that I have set to the class content div. Alright, so let's start by creating these as links. Alright, and the way to do that is highlight each piece of text and go down to your link area down below and put in where it's going to link to. So make sure that you have just the text chosen, no spaces or anything, and go down to your link field in your properties inspector and type in where that would go. Well, in this case, this page, if this was the home page, normally it would be index.html, but this page is actually called warhammer-demo.html, so we'll just call it that.
It's an E instead of W in the name that you
Oh, typo. There we go. Warhammer-demo.html. Good. And then go through each of these and highlight each of them, and then we'll call the rest of them. And these are pages we don't have yet. About.html and gaming. You can double click on a word, it'll highlight the whole word too. Gaming.html and double click contact. There we go. Contact.html. And I always like to tab out of fields, because see, no code has been written into that right yet, but as soon as I tab out of that link field, then boom, the anchor's been written. Alright, so now I've got 4 anchors. If I preview that in Firefox to see what it looks like, click yes, yes, save, save, there we go. So now I've got this little menu system, but it's not looking exactly the way I want it to look yet. Alright, number one, I want to make the text bigger, and also I want to maybe create some margins for this box that push it away from the top and push the other stuff down away from the bottom. So I'm gonna create a margin on the box. I'm gonna create the text inside that box, this top nav box, to be larger, and then I'm gonna create a style for the mouse over color. Oh, and also the underlines. We'll get rid of the underlines as a text decoration item. So let's go back to Dreamweaver. A lot of things we're gonna do, but let's just check it out. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is this top nav class that we created. Double click that, and let's move this out of the way so we can see it happen. Let's click the box category, uncheck margin, and let's see what happens when we give it maybe 25 pixels of top margin. You see what happens? The whole menu system pushed itself down. And let's give it 25 pixels of bottom margin, and it pushes the other stuff away from it, because margins is the space outside a box. Alright, and if I go to the type category, right, I can decide, oh, you know, I want this to be a little bit larger. Let's see, is 12 pixels? No, that's too small. Maybe I want it to be like 18 pixels. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, and that's good. So click OK. Now, what I want to do is I want to get rid of the underline. Okay, by default, links have underlines on them, correct? But I want to apply a style that's going to tell it when you mouse over it, when you don't have it moused over, you're just looking at it, there's not going to be an underline there. But we kind of know it's a menu system because that's normally the way they look in a sense. But in any case, click inside that home link, all right, and go to a new CSS rule, and it's going to give you the full path of the rule. I'm going to go less specific than that, all the way down to top nav A. So for my anchor link, all right, and you don't have to change the top piece, just and write it to the styles.demo.css. Click OK. All right, and under text decoration, you're going to put none. So under type category, you say, and if you're ever wondering, well, what am I styling again? Make sure you check your title bar of the box here. So this CSS rule definition, oh, what am I applying? Oh, top nav class A. So all the anchors that are in the top nav class div box. Sounds like a mouthful, but yeah. So have that as text decoration none. Click OK. All right. So now it's going to be a standard link. So if we preview that in Firefox, it's still a link. When you mouse over, it still turns into the hand, but you just don't see the underline. So now the last thing we're going to add is we're going to add a mouse over color. All right. So let's go back out to Dreamweaver, and let's click inside one of the links and do a new CSS rule again. All right. Click less specific, less specific, less specific. So you're down to just .top nav A. Now, the thing that I need to add here is a hover command, right? And that has to be added manually. So right after the A in the anchor, right, we're going to put in :hover, right? No spaces in there, all lowercase, just as you see it here. Right? And so I'm going to click OK. This is a new style, a new CSS rule. And in here, I'm going to change the type of the color of what I mouse over. So maybe I want this dark maroon to be my mouse over color. Right? And then I can hit OK. And I'm going to preview that now in Firefox. Save my changes, and now there you go. There's your mouse color right over there. So that's how to tidy up what we did in part 1 of this video. If you want to see the part 1 video, check out the same place you got this video at youtube.com/ocdigitalarts. And so what we did here is we finished up tidying up from part 1 the background colors and added a menu navigation system. Oh, one last thing I want to do is I want to add a rollover image piece. So the same way we had each of these text elements, let me just show you. I have 2 images that are already created, and it's real easy inside Dreamweaver. So let's head on over to Dreamweaver, and let's go to where we wanted to put that menu system. Let's say instead of the text that says home right here, I'm going to put a little image inside there. I don't know, maybe it won't look kind of right, but let's just go for it. Because you can be putting it anywhere. So you can decide where you're going to navigate, where you're going to insert it. And that's why split view is really good to work in, because you can see the design view but not be fooled where your cursor goes, because you can always look at the code view. So when I highlight the word home, I can see just the word home in there. But I know that the home area has to do with all of this link here. So like if I clicked on home, what I would need to do is click the A in the tag selector in order to have the entire set of code created. So I'm going to delete that. Once I click A in the tag selector, hit your delete key, and now I'm going to insert a rollover image right in that spot right there. Alright? And this is just as easy as once you've got yourself in the right location, go to the insert menu, go to image objects, and go to rollover image. Alright? So with that, you can name it whatever you want. I'm going to call it home because that's kind of what it is. That's used behind the scenes to keep track of, it's used in the coding to create, because you're going to have this fancy code that's going to create this rollover behavior. Alright, so all I need to do is choose the original image, which is the one you see, and the rollover image, which is the one you see when you mouse over the image. Alright, so let's hit browse for the original. Now I have two images in the sample file, so you can see I have this home image that looks like an up state, right, for the button, and then this image is what happens. It looks like it's pushed downward when it goes into the down state for that image. So I'm going to click this home and click OK. And the rollover image part, I'm going to hit browse and I'm going to click the home over image that I already have created. Alright, and alternate text is best used by SEO and accessibility, so I'm going to put in just the word home in here. Okay, and when it's clicked, where does it go? Well, normally it would be index, but in this case it's Warhammer demo.html if this is the home page. So click OK on that. Whoops, there went the door. Click OK, and now preview that in Firefox and watch what's going to happen. Save the changes, yes, and now check it out. If I scroll in there a little bit, a little fire. Pretty neat, huh? So you could have added each of those image elements if you created all of them as your menu system. These are just simple rollovers for color, and this is actually an image rollover. Yeah. Alright, so thanks for watching.